Okay, welcome to Coffee Lectures Series 33. And today the opening is Coffee Lecture number 17 on Scopus. And Scopus is special. That's why we start today with a Coffee Lecture on Scopus. Next problem, I can't switch to another slide. Impossible. No, somehow it worked. Okay, so you have access to 3 abstract and indexing databases at ETH Zurich. The classic is Web of Science by Clarivate. The latest addition to the portfolio of abstract and indexing databases is Dimensions. And today we have the 20th anniversary database Scopus by Elsevier. And are you aware that also in November there is another important research tool that is celebrating its 20th anniversary? Any ideas? This is Google Scholar that was also introduced in November 2004. And lately there was an article in Nature saying that Google Scholar can survive the IE, can Google Scholar survive the AI revolution? And just a week later, Google Scholar added some AI features. And the biggest difference between abstract and indexing database and Google Scholar is that Google Scholar tries to find out which article is the same article which they find on all kinds of different websites. So that's why you always have this comment all 11 versions, all 18 versions, all 13 versions, because in the first case, Google Scholar found 11 versions. And if you click on that, what we probably never do, you find all these versions. But today it's on Scopus, and I give you some history on Scopus because I was an early adapter of Scopus. And here you can see how Scopus looked 20 years ago. And Scopus was already very innovative at that time and had introduced Scopus Labs, where they developed new functionalities and features. And this was an early advertisement for Scopus, and that was a Scopus developer meeting in California, where you can see me 20 years younger. Scopus was named actually after a bird, and celebrating the 20th anniversary, there's also information on the website how Scopus developed over the years, and the latest edition, Scopus AI, which I'm going to show you also. So this is the starting page, which we see now, and I will now go into a live demonstration and show you some functionalities of Scopus. So this is the starting page of Scopus. Now you should see it better. There is search on top, there are sources on top. Both are important. Scival is not important for you. And if you search, you can search for documents, for authors. You can use the functionality researcher, discovery, organizations, and now on trial until end of this week, Scopus AI. And if you are lucky, it will stay for forever. The decision will be made this week, I was told. And I've prepared a simple search for catalyst with propane selectivity. So I do this simple search and I get the results. I get 1,800 results, and you can see it was combined with Boolean operators. So it would make much more sense if I use this as a phrase search. And most likely I get much less results. Indeed, I get only 276. And then I can filter for the range. Here I see much better what over the years has been published. I can filter for language. There are 3 languages available. And if there is, I can also check if there are different publication types, if there are review articles, if there are articles, conference papers, and so on. And you can also see that there are already papers that will be published officially in 2024. So if I scroll down, I can find, for example, this paper in Helvetica Chimica Acta. And if I click on this, I have more information. I can see that it's from the department head of chemistry, Christophe Corperet. I can set a citation alert if I want to be notified if this paper is getting cited. I can see related similar documents. I have full text option either directly through the publisher or ETH Get It, the document delivery service. I can see indexed keywords. I can see that it's indexed also in Emtree. I can export into reference management systems. I can export also other things. And if I go back to the list of documents, I could also say I'm interested in this and this and this document. And I click on download. And then if I would use Google Chrome, I could automatically download the PDFs. It doesn't work in all cases, but sometimes it's nice to be able to do such a bunch download. And you get also reasonable naming. So that was one example for a search. I do another search for a more medical related topic, which is Achilles tendinopathy, something I suffer from, to get articles. So I can, if I want to get an overview over the literature, it's more than 3,000 papers. I can again filter for document type and say I'm interested only in review articles because I want to get an overview. So here are the latest review articles. I can also say I want to see the highest cited articles, and there is one from 2006 that seems to be important. I can also go back and say newest first. And if I look at a paper like this one, that's also interesting if I check the indexed keywords, because then I see a lot of terms that could be helpful to improve my search, and included are also the mesh terms. Of course, I can set also citation alerts for any important paper and do all these things I did before with that. And then I have to go through the papers. And there's a better solution now with Scopus AI, which I will show later with the same example. But first, next, I would like to show another example using researcher discovery. I'm interested in researchers that do research in the field of batteries. So I do a search using research discovery. And I can filter, for example, for Switzerland to see which researchers work for batteries in Switzerland. And please help me, I can't see Switzerland. Huh? Okay. Here's Switzerland. And now it's based on the literature from 2020. And here on position 4 is Maxim Kovalenko. And you can directly click on all these 34 papers. You can preview his profile. If you have information what he's doing, you can also view his full profile. And then you have detailed information about him, his age factor, what kinds of publication he has, what kind of impact he makes in sustainable development goals, preprints, co-authors, topics, and lately also awards for him. So this is very nice configured. And Scopus is also doing a great job in figuring out if this is really the same person. And you can see this if you use the author functionality and search for Thomas Schmidt, which is a very common name. And if you do this search, we see that here is Thomas Schmidt at ETH Zurich, and all his 321 papers are accessible with one click. I want to also give a short view on sources. So here are journals, all the journals that are in Scopus with an H index. And if you click a journal and another journal, there should be this Compare Sources tab. Yeah, compare sources. And if you use compare sources, you can do a lot of analytics. For example, you can find how many papers are not getting cited in this particular journal over the years. But now it's time to switch to Scopus AI. So I found this literature about Achilles tendinopathy. It was difficult to figure out what it is. And therefore, I did a search on Scopus. And I have to go to my saved searches, which are below. So if you click on saved searches, you can see I did a search for Achilles tendinopathy with PRP, platelet-rich plasma. I found 15 hits. Then I used simply and I got just more. I got much more. And then I found based on the mesh term that also tendinitis could be an important term. And I used also platelet rich in it as a phrase, and I get much more results. So I can filter out all these papers, but it takes time. And with Scopus AI, it is getting better. And so, sorry, I had everything prepared and then the computer didn't work. So I have to type everything in again. So I can ask in natural language what I actually want to know from reading the papers. What is better for treating because I heard there's also a different type of autologous cell therapy. So if I search, then you can see the search is translated into a query. You get a summary. And this is really impressive, what kind of overview you easily get about the literature. So you understand what platelet-rich plasma means, what autologous conditioned serum means. You get an overview of both. You get a summary table. You get conclusions. And what's different from ChatGPT, you have always the literature. You have foundational documents. You have the references for the statements which are in the summary. And this is, if this is not enough, you can even create an extended summary, which takes the time. I hope it's fast enough. So here the first information is coming, also clinical outcomes, mechanism of action, everything is extracted, and you have always the references. You have a concept map where you can see there is different types. You can look for topics, expert people that are active doing research, or in this case, clinical trials. You have also emerging themes, which also takes a while. So I click on it so that can load. So you have here the experts. And what I find very helpful is go deeper additional questions that can help you to understand this field much better. So now it's loading all the rising themes, the consistent themes, and below there are the questions. And if you want to know if there are studies, because my doctor said there are not really studies available that compare these two principles, I can ask, are there studies? And again, it takes only a few moments until it's translated. And it says there are studies, and the studies are shown, and you see there actually is actually one study only on a rat model that compares these two different approaches. But you have literature, you have all this information again, and you have also go deeper, interesting questions where you could click on to see what are the success rates and so on. So this is the latest functionality on Scopus. And with that, I'm done. I switch to PowerPoint again. If you want to take the coffee lecture card, I have a few printed copies, which I will hand out in a minute. If you want to have a digital card, just go to this URL and you can download a PDF. And the announcement for the next coffee lecture is tomorrow by Leo on Switch Edu ID and what you can do with the Switch Edu ID. Thanks for your attention. Any questions?